Okay, this is all transition attacks from 2006 Brazil, basically the team that made modern volleyball, modernized modern volleyball, perfected that style. Basically, the whole world's still playing this style, and I mean, they pretty much perfected it. So I'll let the tape run a little bit. First balls are outside. You can see pretty fast, obviously, transition attacking. It's just knowing your spot, knowing exactly that you don't have to get all the way out sometimes. I mean, the relationship between the setter and which hitter, Dante really likes that kind of quick, low set because his arm's so fast and he's really tall, so he doesn't have to get all the way outside. The set doesn't have to be super high. It doesn't have to be super high. You just got to remember to play to your player's strengths. Obviously, everyone's different. This guy is 6'7", 6'8", doesn't need to jump very high, has an amazingly fast arm, so you can set this ball. And it does take some practice, so. Another one, obviously, Jiba is really fast, but I like to see right here, even though the opposite's taking this free ball, so the setter's kind of getting out of the way here, you can see the setter's getting out of the way. He's letting all 5 players take it. But the pass is high enough where Andre Nascimento, he's the opposite hitter, he's hitting a D ball. He can pass it high enough, and then he can get to the back row attack. So I know a lot of guys, I see a lot of opposites when they pass, they just, especially if they're back row, they don't go for a D ball right away. They just kind of pass it low and stand there. So, I mean, you obviously want to pass it high enough where you can get to your attack, get to your approach. You notice all guys are in sync, too. So the middle attack on the pipe, everyone's lining up in the same rhythm. The gap go is always my least favorite as a blocker to block against. It's just so hard to go against. As you can see, Milkovic, the opposite here, he's just keeping his hands high and just bouncing, blocking Milkovic right here. 14 on Serbia. He's just bounce blocking. And he ends up in a pretty good spot here. I mean, most guys don't hit line on a gap go that fast of speed. But obviously, you got to know who you're playing against. Jiba right here is pretty phenomenal, obviously, his arm swing. But if you're a blocker, you do want to kind of tap that. See how his hands, Milkovic's hands are pretty high here. He already has his arms kind of bent up and waiting. So that way, if it does go 3, he's fronting. He can just help with the 3. And then just slide over for that go. And that's a good position for a go. But Jiba obviously is that rocket arm. He's hitting on the way up. You notice if he's hitting a line, he's going up. But he's still kind of his hair. You can even see his hair flick up even more. So you see him hitting right here. The line, and then his hair actually goes up even more after he contacts it. So he contacts it there. And then he hits it. You can tell his hair is still going up. So he's definitely hitting it on the way up before his peak. If he hit it before his peak, his hair would be coming down, obviously, like that. Very quick arms, I mean, just very active, lots of mobility. Great touch. I like, see the middle is fronting here. I mean, Gustavo, number 11, 13 here. He's going with the other middle. So he's coming, this is his guy, he's coming there. Dante, he's standing here about 20 feet in the court. About 20 feet. I don't like, necessarily, for me personally, I don't like the middle back standing on the end line. I kind of think it's lazy. If you're tall enough, you should be able to just to grab this ball anyways if it's off the block, just like he did, just right there. Gustavo's fronting him. He's kind of reacting that way, so the gap is open that way. It's a pretty good touch. Moving to his right, jumping before the ball's hit. Hands are just, this is what I'm talking about with most blockers. With your hands being spread apart and open, not together like a diving board. I mean, he's taking up space as the middle hits. So he's getting with his left hand, he's taking up a lot of space. It's a really good touch. Jiba's footwork. Jiba's always like the fastest guy. I always really remarked about how quick his feet work. It is like he's doing step ladders out there. So you can see he goes from 0 really quickly doing all these steps to get outside, and then starts over, stops, starts over. Great set. On his way up again, hitting it high. I love this little set he does. He does a little fake one here. Pump, pump. You can see it. He's kind of gives a little pump fake like he's going to hit it. That way the middle blocker jumps with him. And then Gustavo, you can see how much he turns his body all sideways. I mean, his arm is just coming completely, look at his right arm here. His right arm here is just coming completely cross body all the way. You see that? It's landing right here like that, his arm, his right arm. So he's really just kind of smacking right through the ball, not allowing the ball just kind of walk off his hand or fall off his hand. Let's see that again. I like this little pump one here. Transition, back up. So he's there, he's watching, Gustavo's the middle. He's watching the ball, he looks, he just stops where he is. Look at where he has his feet. Hop steps, puts some force into the ground. Hopped into the ground and just big double, just step close. Even as a middle, you're just step closing. A lot of volleyball is just step closing transition. Step close and then a lot of torque. A lot of torque. So look at his feet. The ball comes over, he knows he has to go quickly, he stops, double arm lift, up, go. Really well formed block here, obviously you can tell here, the outside hitter, or Milkovic, he's wanting to hit this kind of angle, or this seam. So as you can see his body line coming in, you can see his attack angle. And they are closing at this point. So they're closing that angle, that seam angle. It's okay if he hits over here. We got 2 diggers that direction. I mean, they want to funnel that. Hands kind of spread apart, shoulder width apart. Just using the line really well, back setting obviously. We talked about Ricardo before, but jumping up, peeking at his set on the way up. Facing one direction, back. Ricardo's always looking at the other team too, the middle blocker. He's always kind of checking out, as you see. He notices the middle's a little bit to the left. Smaller blockers for Serbia. I mean, you got 6'9" Milkovic over here, 6'9" and 6'2" Vujovic over here. So, I mean, you got to take a look at what your blockers are. So, let's see, 6'9" high ball or back set against a 6'2" guy. So, know your personnel. Boom, 6'2" guy I think we're going to go against there. Big serve, overpass. Yeah, if you have an offensive setter, set the ball high enough where they can at least tack or jump. It's pretty nice. Man, Gustavo's arm swing is pretty amazing here. So even though he's off the block, so So about to jump? No, they're not going to jump because the setter's he's just tossing it in. Libero steps up. But you notice the libero's not way inside the 10-foot line here. These guys will get all the short stuff. He still has to get all the kind of intermediate stuff. Gustavo sees, he doesn't even get to the 10-foot line. He stops right here. Look at this. But he knows when to turn and go. So middles, you don't have to get necessarily to a spot, but get to your spot. Look at your setter. Step close right to him. And he even hits cross body. Look at his arm. Good angle, opening up. Good reaching. His hips now are facing forward. So he's going from not seeing his number on his back to not seeing his number on his back. See how his back's facing you to turning. And then it just arm swing is just absolutely following through, just slicing that ball. Look at that. I mean, he's literally slapping himself in the back almost here. You can see his arm here. Just doing that against his back. So he doesn't need that big of an approach. His arm swing is just so fast and precise. One more time. And it's to the left. Sending it to the left, to the left.